Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's CoolCare Masterclass, where we're going to be looking at our digital visitors book today. Well, as I'm sure you're all aware, CoolCare is here to help make operating your care home easier, more efficient, and more profitable. Looking at kind of the easier side of things today with our digital visitors book, looking to see how that can improve your visitor experience. So, while using Zoom today for the masterclass, if anyone does have any questions, you should find a Q&A option on your webinar window in Zoom to be able to ask any questions. So anything you think of as we're going through, you can ask a question in there and we'll be able to pick it up. Either it'll be myself or a member of our team will be on hand to answer the questions as well. And we will have some time at the end once I've gone through the masterclass, just for we'll hang around for any of the questions people might have at the end as well. But yeah, anything you think of us to go through, don't be afraid to ask. Any of your questions are accepted. So, as for what we'll look at today, it is our digital visitors book, going through the kind of visitor experience of that, what it can do, and help with that side of things, how it all works, and how it can then be set up to be configured for your home and for your business, as well as seeing all the information you can get out of that and how that can be used in different ways, how you can analyze that data with all the feedback and stuff it can gather. So, our first question there, what is our digital visitors book if you've not seen it before, if you're not aware of it? It's essentially an e-reception system they use for your front of house, or anyone visiting the home essentially can use it to essentially sign in, replacing kind of a paper physical book on there. You can have this on a tablet, for example, the best place to have it. And you can essentially configure it, set it up to have the different types of visitors use it. They can sign in, put their details in there, gather whatever information you might need from them, and let them know about anything else, of course, going on in the home as well. And then you can also use it to gather feedback from those people as well. When they're leaving, you can ask them for feedback on their time in the home, anything you want them to ask them about, anything you want to gather feedback on, you can set all that up from there, and it will gather it all for you from the feedback given, and then show it you all in one place so you can see all that feedback and analyze it and do anything else you might need to. You can also integrate with Autumna, the care home review website, which we'll get into when we get to it. So, first thing I'm going to do is actually show you how it works from the visitor side of things. So I say it'd be set up usually on a tablet that you would have in your reception area in the home. But I'm going to be using it on my screen here so you can all see it. I can share it with you all. And this is the kind of thing they would see when they come to this tablet. And essentially everything you see on the screen is kind of fully customizable in terms of the branding. So the logo, the images on there, the color scheme, all of that can be customized to suit your home and company. And all the details you've got on here can be customized as well as who can use it. So I've got two examples on here, one for visitors and residents. So it could be, say, using it for, say, visitors coming into the home, and if residents are signing out or going out for the day, something like that, so they can use it to say when they're out and back in as well on there. So stuff like that. You'll notice there's a button for each one, but also a QR code they can scan. So they can scan that visitors can scan that with their mobile phones. Here it is on mine. And they will be able to basically do all this process on their phone. So if you've got multiple people coming in all at one time, not have to crowd around a tablet and do it one at a time, they can do it all in one go with their mobiles as they're here. That's so to sign in, I'm going to use the visitor option on here. The first thing I'll ask you is the visitor arriving or leaving? Well, in this case, we're arriving. We've just got here, and we can then fill out the details. And again, this can all be configured to show the information you want it to ask the information that you want from people. I can pop my information in here. We've got two required fields for the name. We've also got email address and mobile number, which are optional. I'm going to fill in an email address on there. But you can choose, I say, what is required of the visitors, what is optional for them on there. And if I then submit that, it can even ask me for some additional details. So again, you can fully customize this in terms of what information you might ask for people. So stuff like car registration for your car parking, the company they're visiting from, size of their visiting party, etc. in there. And it'll ask you, are you arriving with other people, which can then get them signed in as well. I'll say no in this case. And it can ask if you're visiting someone in particular. And for visitors, that might be coming to see a resident, family members, stuff like that. For visitors coming to do work with your staff members, it could be seen to visit a certain member of staff as well, all that kind of thing. So whoever is visiting, they can pop in on there. Can also then, as you can see, visitors can be asked questions there, so you can let them know about any information that you want to know about in there as well, and has it as a confirmation box for them. Confirm that. That will then sign them in, and then it can even show you which staff are on duty today as well. And after a moment, that will then refresh and go back to the sign-in page for visitors to use again. That's So that's kind of the signing in part of it, is just getting in there and popping the details in. Then, after the visit, once they're leaving, we can go back to here, the visitors, and say we're leaving this time. From here, we can fill all the details of that again. I do need to pop in my information again, just to say I'm the same person that's leaving in there. If I submit that, that's where the feedback comes into play. So as people are leaving the home, you can then ask them about their visit and about any feedback you might want to gather from them. Again, all of this is fully customizable. The questions you ask people, the way they give the feedback is all fully customizable, as we'll show you in a moment. But it's, you can do it through 1 through 5 stars. You can do thumbs up, thumbs down on there instead, etc. Different emotion reactions as well in there, whatever it might be. Or it can even be a free text box they can type in instead on there. It's completely up to you, whatever feedback you ask for, etc. in that, whatever it might be. And they can submit all that feedback, and that will then go over to your digital reception system to see all that's in one place. But yeah, that's the idea with the kind of visitor user experience in there. They just use that, so I say, either using the tablet that you've got set up or scanning the QR codes to do it all on their phones to make it a bit more streamlined in there. So that's the general idea from what they would see on the visitor side. But as I say, everything in here is set up and can be customized by yourselves at the home level. So if I go onto my other side of this is then the kind of app side of the digital reception. This you would access on your computer to then see everything, set up the devices, and get it all up and running for everything you want to show on the digital reception system. So, as you can see, when you first open it up, it'll come to a home page. It will show you kind of a little bit of a dashboard with some information on there, such as your homes and devices, your feedback and outstanding actions, which we'll come to from creators from the feedback in there. But to see everything, you can get a bit more detail from the locations themselves with each home individually. If I click into them, you get a nice little dashboard for this home in particular in terms of arrivals, people on sites, our feedback and actions on there, and the devices themselves to make sure they're online as well in there. And even the kind of types of visitors, when it was last used, etc. in there. So you can get see stuff at a glance in terms of what's going on with the home and visitors we might have on site at the moment. Excuse me. As well as that, if you need to, you could kind of edit some details of the location just in there. So updating any information relating to it that you might know about, including stuff like which users can use this device, and then like the branding I mentioned before, the background image, the logo, etc., the core scheme, all that can be customized in the location there. Well, that's just obviously one part of the customization. To get into the real meat of it, you've got the configuration tab on here. This is where you can set up everything to say what the device can do, who can use it, and what information you would gather from all sorts in there. The main bits are the kind of profiles, the devices, the feedback, and the custom attributes. The profiles being the kind of big main one that's going to affect the rest of the stuff, because that's essentially saying who can use the devices in here. So this would be like, say, different types of visitors there. So your visitors there. I had the residents on mine as well. You could have a kind of different visitor types to get to kind of as granular as you would want in there. The idea is each profile has its own kind of settings and stuff relating to it in terms of the information it asks for and what it can do for people on there. So if I just show you kind of in terms of setting up a profile, you can see that the information it asks for in here and the kind of going through that user experience. So the first name, the information it asks for, the first name, surname, email address, phone number, if they're required or optional, you can set all that up in there. Stuff like the group arrivals, showing them the staff on duty. You can also set up to take photos of people on arrival if you'd want to as well in there, either always or every now and again. Occasionally it will do it kind of at random, I believe. As well as which of the custom attributes it will ask you for. So they were the kind of extra bits of information it would ask for, such as car registration, company, etc. in there. And then kind of what information we'll give them on arrival, on leaving, on there. etc. Extra info, and if they need to confirm that to say they've read it, etc. So that was the extra page with the confirmation box I had on arriving online. All that kind of thing in there. You can even have it so you can send alerts to people within your company to let them know about any specific types of visitors. So if you need to know that a certain type of visitor has arrived, you can get an email notification on that on there as well. It can even email the actual visitor themselves to let them know they've signed in as a confirmation and leaving as well in there for any additional information you might want to give them. So it might be say, when they're leaving, you can send them an email to say thanks for visiting the home today, and send them any extra information you might want through that. There's all sort of stuff on there, and it will also gather kind of what feedback they would give based on the visitor type as well. So plenty of stuff kind of links into the visitor types themselves, as you can see from that. And even extra stuff like if they would also check out after a certain time or after a certain number of hours in there, and then which devices they would be able to sign in using. Right. So yes, a lot of stuff kind of in the setup side of things stems from the profiles because that's saying, who can use the device, what information we need from them, all comes from here. That's, and the rest of the stuff kind of links in to that. So like the feedback and the custom attributes there, the custom attributes are the extra bits of information that you want to ask of someone, such as their car registration number, the company they're visiting from, etc. And again, they're nice and easy to set up. With everything you're setting up in the digital visitors book as well, you have these little I buttons next to every piece of information. So if you're ever unsure of what something does, what it would relate to, you can hover over those little eyes and it will tell you exactly what it's going to do with that. So for example, with the custom attributes, what type it is. There, just involved in that. So whether it's a free text box, just a yes or no question, or just acknowledgement, a tick box to say that they've read that, something like that. There. Whether this information is required or included in the file log as well, which you can get on the device on there. And again, which profiles that would then relate to. So when this certain profile type is signing in or visiting on there, it will show them as custom attributes as well. Yeah, that's the kind of extra information you might want to gather that isn't covered by the main stuff in the profiles. Then the feedback, it's like how to gather feedback from your visitors, all done through these. Again, you can set up different feedback types to ask different questions to certain types of visitors in there that are relevant to them. Essentially, the idea is you set up the feedback type to show, what it is when it shows up, either departure or arrival in there. If it asks them every time or just every so often in that. And once you've got that set up, if I then click into any one of them, you can then ask the questions on there. We'll use the care review actually, that'll show it a bit better. There you go. So you can set up a question, essentially saying, what the question is, how they answer it in terms of whether it's the 5 stars, a text box, the thumbs up, thumbs down, all the emotion reactions, etc., all that kind of thing. And you can set up additional questions if they answer a certain way. So like here, I've got this extra one set up. If they give a low score for the keeps people safe, it will ask why you felt unsafe, and they can then give a more detailed answer on that. So you can kind of get more information out of people for certain things that you might need. That's, as you can see on there, got another one for the overall satisfaction. If they're dissatisfied, why is that? There. You set up all these questions in here for each feedback type. And I say the feedback then relates to the different profiles. And so when they're leaving or arriving, depending on how you've set up the feedback, it will ask for that in there. And the feedback is the big thing that gets gathered, as we'll see in our analysis in a little bit. The other bit you would need then is the devices, just essentially saying what devices you have set up, because it's not just one per home you can have. You can have multiple devices if you had different entrances to your home to make sure people can use them wherever they are with that. And devices you just set up individually. And that includes the stuff like the QR codes on there with that. And then say which profiles can use that device. Yeah, that's kind of the easy one with that. But as I say, with the setup, the big thing is the profiles. That's the one that's going to control everything else. So that'll be the big thing you'd be setting up to make sure everything else feeds into that and all the information comes kind of from there. But yeah, so plenty of stuff you can figure and set up to make sure your devices set up and ask for what you need to and get the information you want out of your visitors. That's all done through there. Then once people start using the device, they start, visitors start using it to arrive and leave, etc. Then we can start gathering that information and seeing it in different ways. So one of the first things that will populate is the people list. I'll never go to that tab. This will be, as you might assume, a list of people that have used the device. So if I filter this down by location, I should be able to find visitors for Oak House, which will include myself in there, as you can see. So I can see that I'm classed as a visitor for this home, as that's what I signed in as in there. If I click into that, I can see the details as well. So if you need to find any information out about a visitor that's been in the home, you can find other information in here, as you can see with that, including say the contact details I popped in on there, the custom attributes I added in as well, which locations I went to, and any extra stuff surrounding that. It would also include like relationships if I said I was visiting a certain person, and there you can see when I've used the devices when I've visited. So yeah, if you need to check anything about your visitors, you can find all the information in the people list here. And that just keeps the details easy for you to find. And with that people list as well, obviously it can, as well as that once there is someone in the people list, sorry, they can then be recognized. And essentially, if they kind of are a regular visitor, it can recognize them the next time they go to arrive. So if I actually went to arrive again in this home here, using the visitors option, if I start typing in my details, it's going to pick up, are you Sam Reynolds? Why, yes, I am. And it will automatically then fill in my details for me straight away because it recognizes me and it can then, fill in those details automatically, including there my company and the additional details I filled in. That's on there. So it makes the streamlines the sign-in process for any regular visitors because it can recognize them when they're returning based on the information they put in. That's all configured, as I say, just based on them being a person on the list there. So it makes it easier for essentially makes it easier for subsequent visits. But you can also do extra things like that, which, for example, you can merge visitors. If you've got duplicate records, you can find them in here, or it can even find them for you. So that way, if people do kind of ignore the auto stuff that comes in and just signs in again, it will just then be able to merge the records so you don't kind of have duplicates standing out on there. You can check the details of them, see that these are essentially the same person. I'm going to accept that suggestion and merge them together. That way, we're getting rid of duplicate records and just having the one on the system in there. That's just as a different example, this one's a visitor, the other one's a resident, so I can ignore that one. That's not a duplicate, it's just actually two people with the same name. So you get the idea on there. You can easily check if these are the same people or not. So that way, again, you're just keeping your people list nice and tidy without having duplicate records in there. And it can, say, pick all those up for you. Then the other big thing that's the system can do once you've, say, people are using it and it's gathering feedback for everyone is seal that feedback in one place together. You've got your analysis tab on this page here, which pulls together all your kind of feedback from all your different visitor types in there to see it all in one place and be able to kind of give you an overview of it from here. So the overview tab breaks it down by your different visitor types there, where you can see positive, neutral, and negative feedback done by individual question in there. And you even see it by location when the devices are being used. And again, any outstanding actions, which we'll get to in a moment. You can then see if you go in the feedback tab there, you can choose a certain feedback type, like the care home review, and it pulls it up question by question, showing you each question and the answers that were given there for each one. So you can easily get a breakdown of the feedback on there, whether it's positive, negative, etc. That's easy to see at a glance. And even if you click into these, you can see you can then pull up the details of each one, showing you the feedback in particular for a person in there. So you can easily see that from there. So yeah, you've got all your feedback gathered in one place from there to see and view, check it all out from there. But as well as that, you can even get this data out of the system using your exports on here as well. So we can export our feedback if I want to. Basically giving me a full list of all the feedback in the system, which I can narrow down as I need to. So I'll put it down location for a certain visitor type. It'll give me then, this is all my feedback for Oak House given by visitors. See it all in one place on there. I can even do anything I need to. If I can filter it by certain questions on there, I can obviously click into these as well and see the full review for that person. That's actually the one I left, as you can see on there from myself. And with feedback, you can actually create actions. So, well, I say create them, they're created automatically, I should say, from here. You can see, because I have 3 out of 5 stars on there, it's created an action that we might want to follow it up and see, that's that an action is required to follow up with that and kind of see, what might have happened if we want to do anything with that in terms of follow up with the visitor and make any actions in the home itself to kind of, improve things for their next visit, etc. in there. So yeah, they'll be created straight away from there, and then you can see once they've been completed and done, etc. in there. The feedback cells are set up to say after they will give a certain level of feedback, it will then mark it as a potential action required. And you can see all those actions in one place as well as an outstanding actions list under the exports to see them all in one place. And all these export lists, the feedback, even the people list you can get out or just visitors, you can then download those as CSV to get that information out of the system for you to download essentially just as a Excel spreadsheets. Want to narrow that down again in there and download it. There it is in an Excel spreadsheet instead. So you can get that data out of the system and do whatever you need with it from that side as well. So yeah, that's the idea with that. It's just bringing it all together to see all that feedback and, like I say, doing what you need with it from there. And as I say, those actions will be created automatically, so then you can say what you've done with them and complete them once they've been happy with all of that. Uh, and that's, as I say, kind of is the general idea with our digital visitors book. You just got to set it up to ask the information you want from people, and then when they start using it, obviously it'll gather it all together, and you can see that in different places on here through the charts, through the exports to get that data out of the system and kind of, act on your feedback, obviously, from there, gathering it all in one place. The one thing that works slightly differently with feedback, I forgot to mention as we were looking at it, is there is the option to link this system to Autumna, the care home review websites, which if I go to the feedback, there is essentially a Autumna review in there. The idea is again, visitors can fill out that feedback and it will get sent to Autumna to be put on the website for feedback on there. So that's the system link that we set up if you use that as well. But yeah, that is, I say, our digital visitors book in a nutshell. So, hope that has been useful for everyone. Thank you all for joining. Just before we finish up, a couple of extra things to mention. As always, if you're interested in any additional training on CoolCare, you can get in touch with us at the training team on there. If you're interested in the digital visitors book as well, I forgot to actually put it on my slide, but you can get in touch with our customer success team. You can just email them, customer.success@coolcare.co.uk, and they can kind of get the ball rolling on getting that set up for you, and they'll be able to discuss the rest of the information regarding it in there as well. And then, let's say if you did need training on it, you'll be able to contact us at the training team for any training needs you might have. And you may have some free of charge training available to use for your account as well. But yeah, you can always email us at training, or you can phone our team as well, and we can get training sorted out if you wanted it. Otherwise, thank you all for joining for this week's masterclass. Our next one in a couple of weeks' time, in 2 weeks. Oh, I did that extra slide on there in the end. Actually on there, support customer success. If you want to chat, help, contact them. But as I say, our next excuse me, the next webinar will be looking at the timesheet shift snapping. So looking at our timesheets and hours and how that works in the system. So if you're interested in that, please do sign up for that one. I say the email will be going up that soon enough, and you'll be able to sign up for that one when you do. So thank you all for joining. As I say, we'll leave the webinar open for a few more minutes. If anyone has any further questions, feel free to leave them on the Q&A option on here, and we'll be able to answer them on there. Otherwise, thank you all for joining me, and do have a nice day.